Louis Vuitton, Dior, Fendi, Tiffany & Co. You must have heard of these brands. They all belong to LVMH. That's the parent company. It's a luxury conglomerate. And it is run by this man, Bernard Arnault. He is the CEO of LVMH. He is the world's fifth richest man, and this is his net worth, $190 billion. We'll come back to that later, but first, let's talk about his recent call. This week, the world's fifth richest person got on a call with the world's third richest person, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg, and the two men discussed layoffs. You see, recently, Meta announced plans to lay off 5% employees, that's roughly 3,600 people, whom Zuckerberg calls low performers. They will be fired soon. Arnault reacted to this. He said that the people getting laid off are actually, and I'm quoting, being promoted outwards. That's what he said. Promoted outwards. Remember, this is the LVMH top boss. He's talking about people losing their livelihoods in an instant. And he's calling this turn of fate an outward promotion. What a way to make up a silver lining. This is not only cringy and infuriating, this is a case of gaslighting. And it's so out of touch. Every worker knows this. Yes, layoffs are an occupational hazard, but they're also among the most challenging life experiences. Studies show that they can cause more psychological stress than divorce. They can cause physical health issues. They can change family dynamics. They can alter your sense of self. Yes, layoffs affect different workers differently, but they can upend your life. And one thing can make it even worse. When a top boss, the world's fifth richest man, calls it an outward promotion. Like I said, it is cringy. But this is not just about Bernard Arnault or LVMH. We saw this with Salesforce as well, when the company laid off 8,000 staff, but their CEO took a 10-day trip to French Polynesia. He called it a digital detox. We saw this with Twitter too. It fired employees in the middle of the night by signing them out of company accounts. And who could forget Better.com CEO laying off 900 people over Zoom? These are different experiences, but they have something in common. They're all tone deaf. And you don't expect this from the business elite. Now, obviously, hashtag not all CEOs. And we get that being the boss is not easy. You have to take tough calls. You have to fire people. And this is a tricky area. There is no good way to tell someone that they are being let go. So there is a huge scope for faux pas. And this scope only increases as the disconnect grows. Bosses have always made more money than workers. But this gap between CEOs and employees is growing dramatically. In the US, top CEOs make about 200 times the salary of an average employee. In the UK, top executives earned more in the first week of this year than their average worker will all year. In India, the pay for IT CEOs has soared 160% in the last 5 years, while that of a fresher has risen by just 4%. And coming back to Arnault, even if you make $10,000 a week, you would have to work every week for more than a third of a million years to come close to his net worth of $190 billion. That's about the same time since before Homo sapiens first emerged in Africa. So we get the disconnect. But this does not stop people from feeling the pinch. When you relate a layoff to a promotion, or when you dangle the layoff carrot to get what you want, Starbucks did it recently. It wanted to end work from home. So it warned employees, return to office or risk being fired. But their CEO doesn't have to. He doesn't have to return. He lives 14 hours away from the headquarters. He has a private jet given by the company for when he wants to show up in office. And he earns a base salary of $1.6 million. So if someone can survive a layoff for not showing up, it is him. But he doesn't have to worry about it. And that's exactly my point. CEOs live by different rules, by different standards. And you could say they deserve it. Of course, they've worked for it. They run massive companies, but their offices are not ghost towns. Layoffs impact company sentiment, and a company depends on employee performance. This performance improves by keeping employees happy. Even an intern would know that. Happy, secure employees are profitable for companies, so it makes economic sense to handle layoffs with care. It also makes common sense. It is bad enough that companies call workers resources, but you cannot forget that they are human. Even if you cannot relate to a worker living paycheck to paycheck, you can have genuine human empathy for them while you're demanding work from them, and more so when you're letting them go. Tune into First Post for our special budget coverage tomorrow. We'll be tracking the finance minister's speech in the morning, the key announcements, the big policy changes, and the major reactions. Also, don't miss the special budget edition of Vantage at 9 p.m. tomorrow.